Hello Internet, so nice to see you. Today I want to talk about the Mixolydian flat 6 scale. Now, as usual, this scale gets several different names in music theory. So some people call it the Mixolydian flat 6, some people call it the Aeolian Dominant, some people call it the Aeolian Major, and some people even call it the Melodic Major. As usual, I am not interested in who is right and what is the right and correct name. I'm more interested in the sound of the scale, so for me it doesn't really make any difference how we call this scale. So what are the notes of this scale? In the key of A, the Mixolydian flat 6 scale is made by the notes A, B, C sharp, D, E, F, G, and A. So, as you see, it's just a natural minor scale in which I raised the third note up a half step to make it a major third. And you also see immediately that this is a dominant scale, meaning a scale that works over a dominant chord. Indeed, the A seventh chord would be A, C sharp, E, G, all notes in this scale, so this scale will work over an A dominant seventh chord. I also have to mention that this scale is the fifth mode of the Melodic Minor scale. If you don't know what a mode is right now, don't worry, for this video you don't need it, but if you're curious, I have a course called Master of the Modes that you may want to check out. Now, this scale sounds great because it's a hybrid of a major and a minor scale. And indeed, if I take the first 5 notes of the scale, A, B, C sharp, D, E, those will be the same 5 notes I find in the A major scale. But if I take the notes from D to the next octave A, D, E, F, G, and A, those will be the same 5 notes I find in an A minor scale. In a sense, from this point of view, this scale is the opposite of what we do on an A melodic minor. What do I mean with that? Well, an A melodic minor is A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. In this case, the first 5 notes, A, B, C, D, E, are from the minor scale, and the last 5 notes, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, are from the major scale. Now, I don't mean to say that those scales have been derived from the major or minor scale. I'm just saying that those notes are the same as the one I will find in a major or a minor scale. Also, as a curiosity, the Mixolydian flat 6 scale is also the negative scale of the Melodic Minor scale according to negative harmony. And you can check out what these exactly mean by clicking on the link on the top right. Now, as usual, the best way to really understand the sound of a scale is not to play it as a scale, but to play instead the chords in that scale. So let's harmonize the scale, meaning let's find the chords in it. On the first note A, I can have either an A major triad, A, C sharp, E, or an A seventh chord, A, C sharp, E, G. On the second note B, I can have a B diminished triad, B, D, F, or a B minor 7th flat 5 chord, B, D, F, A. On the third note C sharp, I can have either a C diminished triad, C sharp, E, G, or a C minor 7th flat 5 chord, C sharp, E, G, B. On the fourth note D, I can have a D minor triad, D, F, A, or a D minor major 7th, D, F, A, C sharp. On the fifth note E, I can have an E minor triad, E, G, B, or an E minor 7th chord, E, G, B, D. On the sixth note, I can have an F augmented triad, F, A, C sharp, or an F augmented with a major 7th chord, F, A, C sharp, E. And finally, on the last note G, I can have either a G major triad, G, B, D, or a G dominant 7th chord, G, B, D, F. Now, a good way to immediately understand the sound of a scale is to play a 1-4-5 chord progression in that scale, because when I play the 1-4-5 chords, I am playing all the notes in the scale in one chord or another. And I don't need to use the 7th chord, I can do this with just triads. So in this case, the first chord is A, the fourth chord is D minor, and the fifth chord is E minor. A good trick is to keep playing the root of the chord at the base, which is the A note in our case, so I can just keep playing the open fifth string so that we are sure that our ear perceives that note as the root of the scale. And so in this case our 1-4-5 will sound this way. Now, to some musicians, this scale may seem scary and user-unfriendly because there are several diminished and an augmented chord and not many major or minor triads in it. So, again, if you are not really fluent in your diminished and augmented chords, this scale may look difficult at first sight. But first of all, it's not really hard to learn those diminished and augmented triad, and if you need help, I have a course called Complete Chord Mastery that can help you with that. And also, you don't have to use those diminished and augmented chords unless you want to. As we've seen in the previous example, you can get some music done just by using A, D minor, and D minor, so just major and minor triads. Of course, the whole thing starts to sound way more interesting if you put in those diminished and augmented triad. So, for instance, you can take your standard A major chord as you normally play it on the guitar with open strings. Then you can leave the first and the fifth string to ring open, and instead on string 2, 4 and 5 with your fingers, you play the next chord in the scale, which is the B diminished triad. Again, nothing scary, you play it this way. And then we simply play those two chords together. That's a quite beautiful effect, don't you think? If you want to play something different afterwards, you can create any kind of chords you want by putting together the notes in the scale in any way you want. Here's, for instance, a trick to use the F augmented chord without making it sound like an augmented chord. The F augmented is made by the notes F, A, C sharp. You simply don't play this C sharp and you play a D instead, so essentially what you're playing is just an inversion of the D minor chord instead, but you make sure your bass is F, so it sounds more like an F sixth chord than a D minor chord. A possible way to play it is this. If I put together this last chord with the two chords I had before and I top everything up with an E minor seventh chord, I have this interesting chord progression. Now, of course, we can debate for days and days on the exact name to give to this chord and to this other chord, but again, I'm less concerned about the correct naming of things and more concerned about the sound of those things and where they come from. All those chords come from this Mixolydian flat 6 scale, just putting those notes together and leaving me some freedom to use the open strings, because when you use open strings, typically you can always create a more interesting and more sparkly sound to your chords. Again, I'm more interested in creating music than giving names to everything. Two things before we end. First one, I am very curious about what chords you guys can take out of this scale. So if you like the sound of the examples I made so far in this video, I would totally recommend you guys grab your guitar and try to do the same and try to put together the notes of the scale and hear what kind of sounds come out of your guitar. There are many ways to put those notes together in different chords, and there are many ways to make this scale sound great and create interesting chord progression. If you find something interesting, write it down in the comment because I'm curious to see what you guys can make with that. Second thing, there would be a lot more to say about the Mixolydian flat 6 scale. Right now we're just limiting ourselves to play a few of the chords in this scale and hear what comes out, but this scale can be used in many different situations and it sounds great when used as a soloing scale to play a lead over a chord progression. Of course, in this short video, I cannot do justice to that application of this scale, so if you're interested in learning more about that, I would recommend the course Master of the Modes. That is a complete video course, it's not a book, that teaches you everything you need to know about scales and mode. We do dedicate time, of course, to the Mixolydian flat 6 scale and to many other scales that you can use in your solos. And in this course, we also learn how to play those scales on the fretboard, how to remember them, how to navigate the fretboard with them, and how to use them in any musical situation so that you can improvise on any chord progression. If you have just a minute, click on the link on the top right and check out Master of the Modes. If you like this video, smash on that like button and don't forget to subscribe and totally click on notification, otherwise YouTube will not let you know when I put up a new video. And if you have any feedback, suggestions, comment, write them down in the comment section. I want to hear from you. This is Tommaso Ziglia of musictheoryforguitar.com, and until next time, enjoy.